Well, good afternoon, everybody. And how are we today? Everyone having a good JNUC so far? Yeah? Are we all ready for Zumba? Just making sure everybody's awake. That lunchitis didn't sit in. My name is Janice Daphne, and I'm an SE here at JAMF, so welcome to this afternoon session. With great pleasure, I get to introduce Friedemann. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yeah. Friedemann and Thomas, who will be bringing a session on ready for boarding, as it says there so wonderfully by the Lufthansa Group. And I have to tell you about these two amazing gentlemen that I just spoke with earlier. They truly took building a flexible and modern workplace to a whole other level of putting this presentation together for you. Because where did we start? Albania. We ended up in Albania. We did a little bit in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, God knows where. I'm just adding on at this point, I'm kidding. But I'm very excited to bring the session to you. So please, guys, no further ado, take it away.
Hi, folks. We are happy to be back at JNUC. Last year, I was here with my amazing colleague, Colin Vosswinkel, talking about Mac apps. I'm Thomas. I'm working as a technical product owner for the macOS client used within Lufthansa Group. Today, I'm here with another amazing colleague, Friedemann, who used to work with me, but now he works at Lufthansa Group directly in the CISO office.
Hi, I'm Friedemann. Thanks for the introduction. I'm worked formerly together with Thomas and Colin in the macOS team of Lufthansa Group, but days are changing, so now I'm responsible next to my task in the CISO office for the cybersecurity of the entire Apple platform within Lufthansa Group. And today we are here to talk with you about how to build a modular and flexible macOS workspace that serves an entire airline group. So the Lufthansa Group is a globally operating airline group and the fourth largest in the world by revenue only, surpassed by the 3 carriers from the States you all know. We have 13 distinct airlines and using a multi-hub and multi-brand strategy. This means every airline in our group has its own identity that also reflects their specific national identity. And for example, our colleagues at Swiss, maybe you know them, have their Swissness in their product. As part of an airline, we also have service companies. We have Miles & More, our loyalty program, or Lufthansa Technik. Now we have Lufthansa Technik, that provides maintenance, repair, and overall service for aircraft engines and components. In total, we have more than 100,000 employees in our group in over 300 companies. And we also have IT subsidiaries. We have, for example, the Lufthansa Industry Solutions.
The Lufthansa Industry Solution that I work for is an IT consultancy that works for the Lufthansa Group as well as for the external market, like, for example, the Munich airport and the German automakers. Lufthansa Industry Solutions is one of the 25 largest IT consulting companies in Germany. We employ about 3,000 people from 76 different countries at 14 locations worldwide, including Switzerland, Albania, and even here in the US in lovely Florida. We historically had a lot of consultants and developers that used MacBooks as their daily drivers. So our team was tasked to create an operating model for macOS. This went so well that we eventually rolled it out across the Lufthansa Group as the new standard for macOS. Our Mac offering is called One More Thing. We have multiple base infrastructures due to the diversity of our IT within the group, and our implementation is based on an open source tool stack and the use of macOS native frameworks wherever possible. Currently, we cater to users across 22 mandates, but we focus on different configurations rather than the number of users.
So in our group, the subsidiaries decide whether to offer Macs, and if so, only for subject-specific requirements or as an employee choice program. Our vision for such a program is to empower our colleagues, value individuality, and offer them the choice without generating additional costs for the company. For example, Miles & More and Lufthansa Industry Solutions already do this. They offer their employees the choice between a Windows machine or a Mac device, and our goal is to implement this as a group-wide employee choice program. But sometimes we're thinking about what should we do if our Mac program fails. For example, I would love to be a flight attendant, traveling around the globe with my favorite aircraft, the 747 from Boeing, the queen of the skies. But what would I do if I went out of champagne? So maybe gate agent and travel, upgrading my family and friends on the go?
Friedemann, I think this heavily violates our compliance policies. Please join me with my dream, opening up a taco shop.
So we basically continue what we're already doing. Everyone loves Macs, but have different requirements. This is why we have everything so modular already in our product. And with tacos, it's pretty the same. Everybody loves them, but almost everyone has their own preferences. So somehow we are already the Lufthansa Group taco shop. Let's have a look at a couple of our most beloved tacos, Lufthansa Technik, Swiss, and Miles & More. We have in our program 3 layers. The core is the tortilla. Like everything mandatory, what every client gets. After that, we have the protein, which is this choice, there's choice, but it's limited. So we have here implemented the infrastructure, like VPN, PKE, and so on. And at last but not least, we have the subsidiary layer, which is like a topping that ultimately caters to the customer needs.
Our core layer is like the shell of the taco. And it's pretty much non-negotiable, as every taco must have a tortilla as its base. So Lufthansa Technik, Swiss, and Miles & More have everything of this. It consists of the MDM framework, in our case JAMF Pro, which is pretty much obviously, as we're here at JNUC, and the XDR EDR solution, as well as the identity provider, so everything that is shared across all of our subsidiaries is in the core layer. We use step notify during enrollment to show our users the progress. To translate it into our aviation environment, we refer to the installation of Microsoft Office as loading baggage. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a baggage. And the installation of VPN as connecting to ground power, for example. We also leverage our custom-built apps, which we presented last year, to offer our users personalization after enrollment experience where they can customize their own Mac. But as additional part of layer 1, we also, like any good business, need to take care of our customers if they slip or if they maybe, have an accident in our taco shop. For us, this is like the insurance, and our insurance is AppleCare for Enterprise. Like with real tacos, some protein choices are shared between multiple tacos on our menu. This infrastructure layer is where we allow for some individuality. As for VPN, Lufthansa Technik as well as Lufthansa Industry Solutions share the same VPN client. Miles & More and the Swiss have both their own distinct VPN client. For the Swiss, the VPN is maintained by an external local partner that is not part of Lufthansa Group. Thanks to our modular approach, we could easily integrate all of this with our partner and have also been in talks to prototype the new ACME certificate flow later this year as one of the very first operating models within Lufthansa Group. The single sign-on solution is the same for Technik, Industry Solutions, as well as Miles & More. The Swiss has their own Active Directory, and I worked for the very first time in my career with Kerberos SSO plugin, formerly known as Apple Enterprise Connect, to use their legacy on-prem Active Directory server for enabling SSO. This was something we managed to set up very quickly during the POC. When it comes to the public key infrastructure, it is the same as for the VPN. Lufthansa Technik and Lufthansa Industry Solutions share the same. Miles & More and Swiss have each of their own distinct PKI solutions. We also use different pre-stage enrollments with different settings for each subsidiary. Through an automated assignment flow, we ensure that all devices that are purchased through our trusted vendors are automatically assigned to the correct subsidiary. As core method, to have multiple tenants inside JAMF Pro, we use the sites feature. So we really hope JAMF will keep supporting this also on an API level. Each subsidiary has its own site, and this is how we scope to the specific properties. We will show this workflow in more detail later on in the presentation. Also, you can see several parts of the infrastructures are the same across different subsidiaries, and some subsidiaries choose their own configuration.
And the subsidiary layer, this is the home of branding and well-being. Our customization is applied here, including custom wallpapers, special icons for our subsidiaries. Those are like special toppings and salsas you can add to your taco. Some people like to create a super taco. So with additional sour cream, coriander, or avocado. Because the Lufthansa Group has a multi-branding strategy, those brands should be reflected on the client itself. So everybody using the client feels that's really a client made for them. So for instance, we have Luca, the Lufthansa user customization application. It's an app where the user can pick a wallpaper and customize their Mac. On the left, you see the Luca version from Swiss. On the right-hand side, the one for Lufthansa Technik. You see different colors, different icons, and different wallpapers. But both share the same application, just with a different touch and branding. Same for Leia. This is our internal developed onboarding assistant. Austrian on the left, in the middle Lufthansa, on the right, the Swiss. Here it's especially important for us to allow distinct content, science information, or instructions how to use things, like in VPN, due to the different infrastructure, can be different. We also have, when you if you remember our talk from last year, you might remember LEA. It's a framework we also developed internal that's easily using makes Mac apps out of web apps with the help of WebKit. So we bring websites like room booking, timesheets, and also, for us important, flight bookings directly to the client as a custom app, which just live in a window. And those apps play a vital role in customizing our Mac for the different subsidiaries, as every subsidiary has different tools, and we want to make them accessible easily for our users. And the customization also extends to the physical world. With every new Mac we ship, we hand out custom boarding passes corresponding to the brands. So you see here, in the back, the one from Swiss, and in the front, the one from Lufthansa. Those have just the important quick start information on it, like the famous 3 steps you all know. And of course, if something gets in trouble, there are also the help desk information for the users to reach out when they make their zero-touch deployment. But this all sounds very simple so far. But of course, we had a lot of turbulence along our flight. So we want to give you a look how we worked on that. So one of the challenges we faced was, how do we assign devices between subsidiaries at scale? As you can imagine, such a big enterprise like Lufthansa Group, there it's hard to coordinate when Macs are bought. So when one of the 300 companies buys a Mac, how do we assign them that they will get the right configuration in JAMF? So our solution is here together with our supplier and the Apple Business Manager. When a Mac gets bought, of course it will be added to the Apple Business Manager. We all know of zero-touch deployment, the Apple device environment. After that, it will be auto-signed to the MDM server from the Business Manager, so to JAMF Pro, of course. But how does JAMF Pro now knows which Mac belongs to which subsidiary? For that, we work together with our supplier, and we get every day a CSV file. And this CSV file is then used in our custom-developed tool Luma. It's our utility for Mac administration, and this app uses the JAMF API to assign, based on the data from the supplier, which device belongs to which company, and make then the assignment via API of the pre-stage. And of course, with the pre-stage and the Apple Business Manager done, then it's possible to set up the Mac, and this all happens in the background before the device arrives to the user. So we already get the information from the supplier when they ship the device. So this is how we make sure that a Swiss device will be truly a Swiss device and not a Lufthansa device.
After signing devices, let's talk about how do we create a scalable enrollment process with minimal overhead. The TACO principle is especially reflected in our enrollment policies. During the enrollment, multiple policies will be triggered by DAP Notify. There are certain ones that will be triggered on every device, which will install everything that is part of our core layer. You remember the tortilla. Some policies like VPM are excluded from certain sites. Those are part of the infrastructure layer and might differ from subsidiary to subsidiary. And then there are the customization policies, one for each site with the same trigger. This will install only the policy to a Mac belonging to that specific site. Here we install everything unique to that particular subsidiary. Also, we face challenges by achieving multi-branding in one app bundle. As Friedemann pointed out, we do multi-branding for all of our subsidiaries. We don't want to deal with the overhead of having separate applications for every brand. If you remember the app Luca, this is right here, just one app bundle, even though it's different, has a different appearance. We achieved this by separating the app bundle from the content and the configuration. For instance, the wallpapers are in their own dedicated library folder. See? And will be filed by the customization policy of that particular site. For the titles, we have an app config profile on every machine that stores details such as the subsidiary, which can be read by apps and scripts alike, like here for the Swiss International Airline. Same for our onboarding app, LEA. It also gets its configuration as an add config profile, and the media content lives outside of the signed app bundle. To rebrand the icons, we simply need a package that overrides the default icon. But we did face one challenge here. There's one thing that cannot be changed and needs to live inside the app bundle. It's the app icon itself. But it can be changed. We found a clever way to solve this by using ancient next step technology, and I really like RetroTech. It's called NS Workspace. NS Workspace has a functionality called set icon. With this, you can set an icon for any file or folder on the Mac. We wrote a little command line tool in Swift that takes in a JSON file of what file will get which icon. And it just iterates over all the specific files and brands the client accordingly. And last but not least, how do we communicate the benefits of AppleCare? We all know, for example, that we have, like most of us as Mac admins know, that when we have AppleCare for enterprise or AppleCare as a private person, that you can get a free battery replacement when the battery goes under a certain percentage. But most of our users do not know that. But we really want them to know this, because we don't want to waste any money on a product like AppleCare for enterprise that we don't use. This is why we collect the battery health as an extended attribute, which is actually one of my favorite features of JAMF Pro. Based on this, we trigger a script by using a smart group in JAMF. So this is like done automatically. The script then opens Luna, our notification framework on the Mac of the user, and the user is presented on how to get in touch with Apple and how to schedule their appointment. And these are just a couple of examples of how we solve challenges that come with such a diverse and complex environment as ours.
So finally, the Lufthansa Group is not a taco shop, and we don't have any plans to open a subsidiary that's a taco shop. But we have built a modular system that follows the same principles as one. So this contributes to our vision as a team. We want one macOS operation for a sustainable future beloved across Lufthansa Group. It's for us important to offer a platform where the entire Lufthansa Group can participate, regardless whether their infrastructure looks like. Different VPNs, no problem. Different IDPs, no problem. To this end, we developed a central architecture and governance. We want also to be sustainable for our future by adopting modular concepts to manage complexity and uncertainty using state-of-the-art technology, and not the one you're talking about, to continually evolve as an internal service offering. So we want to be prepared if there's something change outside. You know, we live in a world with SaaS products, JAMF changed things, and also Microsoft and all of the vendors. When we build it modular, so we can easily put out one part and put in another one. And at the end, we are an airline group with different companies. This was too. Here's maybe an error. We are an airline group with different companies. I don't know why it's so spinning. So we are an airline group with different identities, different brandings, and different national pride. And it's for us really important to bring this to the entire company and bring it to the client so everybody is proud of the company he's working for. So this contributes at the end to our daily motivation as a Mac team. And this is to support our colleagues around the globe, whether they are up in the air or on the ground, to fulfill the purpose of the Lufthansa Group, connecting people, cultures, and economies in a sustainable way.
Yeah, thank you everybody for participating and joining. And I know it was like sometimes maybe a bit bumpy flight, but we really appreciated you being here. If you got some questions, please tell us and ask questions. We got, I think, some time for questions, so yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to facilitate the question and answer. Thank you so much, Friedemann and Thomas. So now for the pop quiz. They didn't tell you that. First prize is 2 first-class tickets on Lufthansa internationally, courtesy of Friedemann and... No, it's not?
No,
no taco bar? Okay, how about Q&A? I'd be happy to run it to you, and if you just want to go ahead and lift your hand, I'd be happy to come up. I did get my workout in this morning, so I'm ready, guys.
It's always easy without questions.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So as I mentioned to you earlier, I flew with Lufthansa in August.
Okay.
So listening to how you work on the back end as a group with all the other companies that you have, for me, managing in the app and having to get those notifications and all of what it takes for you to book the flight and get the reminders as you're moving through another country was and having you speak today, it was just really enlightening to me to hear the backstory of what that app all goes about and how the group comes together to put that together. So question is, at the gate agents, are those all Mac devices?
No. So we have, to be honest, the airline brand, when you're looking at the airlines in the world, all of them have like two backbones, Apple and Microsoft. Mm-hmm. Because everything you see in the hand of a pilot is mostly an iPad. Yeah. Like we call this internal EFB, electronic flight bag. Right. And or when you see a crew member traveling around the world have their timesheet on it, it's mostly an iPad. Mm-hmm. But when we're looking at the check-in devices, these are often Windows devices. And this is maybe not so state-of-the-art, which tools are there sometimes using, because it's a really complex system involving over years, and it's really hard because all of the airlines in the world working together in alliances to find their sustainable solutions that they can improve their software.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I mentioned earlier, we started out with a Mac platform with consultants and software engineers. So this is still our core audience. We are working to enable Mac as a choice within all the different subsidiaries. And some subsidiaries like Lufthansa Industry Solutions and Miles & More already offer that, so that the normal knowledge worker can also use a Mac as choice. But it is very unlikely that a gate agent will ever use a Mac.
For example, one part of the gate agents also, they are often work for other company and also work for different flights. So at one day, when we go, for example, now to Denver Airport, the person there will not just work for Lufthansa flights and make them ready to take part, also maybe for a United flight. Mm-hmm. So this is why it's so hard to put things in the infrastructure at an airport. But this is why we are so proud of that we already put a part in working so much with our internal subsidiaries and bringing the Mac to so many companies and persons around the globe that making this experience you have in the air possible by, for example, developing the app where you can check in.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone else in the room? Yeah. I'm coming. Don't try and trick me.
Thank you. Hi, so I was interested in the Luma app that you were talking about earlier. So I might be misunderstanding it here a bit, but are you able to bypass Apple Business Manager?
No, it's not a bypass. We just make it in a form that we have, like in the Apple Business Manager, the auto assignment for MacBooks done. All Macs get assigned as they come to the Business Manager directly to JAMF Pro, our instance. But we have the issue after that we need to configure the correct pre-stage. So we have like one dummy pre-stage in JAMF Pro. It's our not assigned to pre-stage. Mm-hmm. This will not allow the user to enroll the device, and this pre-stage is the one in JAMF with the auto-assign button. And then we have for every subsidiary different pre-stage with their configuration and their corresponding site, and then we assign via the API the different pre-stage, and we do this before the user enrolls so that the user never see the fake pre-stage. If there's for example, a device in the Apple Business Manager assigned, something goes wrong, we have this pre-stage that blocks the enrollment and just show over an enrollment customization from JAMF. Please contact the support with your serial number to make sure that the user not enrolls in a wrong pre-stage, because the worst thing we have, sometimes the pre-stage looks similar out of the configurations, that a Lufthansa employee realized just after 3 weeks that he has a Swiss configuration when he bumps up the support with a lot of tickets. So this is like a two-layer approach where we do two tasks at a similar time.
Yeah. So additionally, Luma currently only interfaces with JAMF Pro. We will eventually build out API integrations with Apple Business Manager, but this feature in Apple Business Manager is rather new, so all the API integrations from Luma are with JAMF Pro right now.
So you run all of the airlines from within one JAMF instance?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got to be a messy.
Yeah, but this is why we have this modular approach that we use wherever possible the same, and when it's not possible, we have the individualization to make this complexity manageable. Because when we begin to have different instances, then we have a lot of different issues. connectors to Intune for compliance registration, SSO, if a user changed the subsidiary and switched the department, then we need also to change the instance and all of that.
So it's much easier having one JAMF Pro, so we can share a lot of the craft that we built across all of the different companies. So this was basically why we did it like that. And this is why we really, really hope that JAMF will keep supporting the sites, and that they will double down on the sites and give us more API control over the sites, because the sites are basically key to having different subsidiaries in one JAMF. This is how we use it. It's a little bit misusing the site features. We are pretty aware of that, but we also know from our friends at JAMF that we are not the only company that uses site in this fashion. So, yeah. But it works, and it's like it makes us a little bit more flexible, and it saves us a lot of time because we do not need to reinvent the wheel all over again for another subsidiary, and can just reuse all the craft. That's
what's really important here to mention, that in our internal POC phase where we started with JAMF, we made also some mistakes. For example, our JAMF instance looked like we have everything built like 300 times. And this was why we developed this modular approach to, for example, when companies share the same root certificate, why should we have the same payload multiple times? This is just overhead. But this was for us a really challenging way to find out which is possible. And so this is why we wanted to share with you the story and hope you can imagine how you build like a taco, your JAMF instance, to be a little bit more prepared for the future.
By the way, we also have taco stickers for you. No real life tacos. We had something similar for lunch, but we do have taco stickers. So contact with us directly after this talk, and we can hand you some stickers. We also have airplane stickers. And yeah, if everything goes wrong, we might really open a taco shop, taco and more.
Yeah, to be honest, I stay with
You're the flight attendant. I'm volunteering right now.
Any more questions from anyone? We're happy to answer almost anything that we can legally.
With the applications, does it vary a lot between these individual companies? Like if somebody was to make that change from one to the other, is it like a lot of overhead?
I don't think, yes. I mean, some applications are used across all of the different subsidiaries. Yeah, but this is basically what I described. But for the most part, the specific applications for each subsidiary are mostly web apps.
Yeah, this is the good part.
So we have like this tool called LIA, Lufthansa Internet Application, that we presented about last year, Colin and I. And this is basically creating a web app like in a container that can be used on the desktop.
But here was also really important for us to build a native solution. So this framework is built on WebKit and uses the integrated browser engine of macOS. So we will be always patched with the device itself. And we just deploy like an icon and an URL. Because our prototype was with Electron apps.
Yeah.
And this was really like updating every app every day. So this was just for the prototype phase. But we can, with all of these apps, and this is why we built them so modular, they're always scrapping the stuff from like a config profile on the device, from a folder location, the wallpapers, but everybody gets always the same application. So that's really easy to maintain these applications.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Should I start singing? I can sing. I'm kidding. Once again, can we get a round of applause for Friedemann and Thomas? Thank you so much, gentlemen. All right.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Concludes the session.
Thanks for your time.
Feel free to stick around and hang around if you guys want to chat one-on-one with them. The next session, we still have a bit of time between the next one, so we'll give you back some time in your day. Thank you.